You're at the Moroccan border. Your supplier is fully paid, you have the commercial invoice in hand, and you assume calculating your import taxes is a simple matter of reading the total at the bottom of that page. But then the customs declaration is submitted into BADR, the national customs system, and the software flags the value. Your shipment is instantly blocked from clearance. You are hit with a redressement, an official reassessment of the goods value by the administration. This triggers a sudden spike in your tax bill, alongside unexpected financial penalties. The confusion here is real. The invoice is genuine. The money left your bank account. So why did a totally legitimate document fail the legal test at the border? The friction happens because of a dangerous gap between what businesses consider a standard commercial price and the very specific, mathematically rigorous framework that Moroccan law calls customs value. The legal starting point for evaluating any import is the valeur de transaction, or transaction value. Simply put, this is the actual amount you paid, or owe, to your foreign supplier. For customs to even consider accepting this number, it has to reflect a pure commercial reality. That means an arm's-length deal, free from hidden corporate ties or family relationships that might artificially suppress the price. But let's go back to our blocked shipment. Even if your transaction value is flawless and fully legal, customs will frequently reject it. That is because, for tax purposes, the invoice alone is almost always incomplete. You have to factor in the élément incomparable, the specific additional logistical costs that Moroccan law requires you to attach to that base price. Paying your supplier clears your debt under the commercial contract. Moroccan Customs, however, requires you to calculate and pay taxes on the cost of the entire logistical journey. This equation reveals your assiette taxable, or taxable base. Customs value equals invoice price plus freight plus insurance. The logic is geographic. Customs assesses the total accumulated cost at the exact moment goods cross into Moroccan territory, not their value on a foreign factory floor. This is where Incoterms become critical. These international shipping terms dictate exactly which costs are baked into your invoice and which ones are left out. Take one of the most common terms, FOB, or free on board. An FOB invoice covers the price of the goods themselves and the expense of loading them onto a ship at the port of origin. The long journey across the ocean is entirely unaccounted for on that piece of paper. To satisfy customs, you have to upgrade that valuation to the equivalent of CIF, cost, insurance, and freight. You are legally required to manually declare the ocean freight and insurance costs to close the gap between the origin port and Morocco. If you submit an FOB invoice without declaring those transport costs, you are not making a paperwork error. In the eyes of the law, you are actively under-declaring your taxable value. So what happens if an importer deliberately omits those costs or presents an invoice with a unit price that sits far below standard industry rates? Customs officers rely on a principle known as doute légitime, or legitimate doubt. If your numbers look artificially suppressed, the administration has the authority to halt your clearance process. Under legitimate doubt, they can completely discard your invoice. To calculate the redressement, they will look at their own databases and tax your shipment based on the average market value of identical or similar goods recently imported into the country. A private agreement between a buyer and a seller does not override national tax law. If your declared value cannot survive an objective comparison against real market data, it will be rejected. To navigate this successfully, you need to audit every commercial invoice against its Incoterm long before those physical containers ever reach the port. By preemptively identifying the missing freight and insurance additions, you calculate your exact landed costs ahead of time. This secures your profit margins and eliminates the risk of surprise border penalties. Moving boxes across the ocean is only the physical half of logistics. The administrative half requires strict mathematical precision and a firm grasp of the legal mechanisms governing trade. Mastering customs valuation keeps your operations running smoothly. To deepen your expertise and handle international logistics with absolute confidence, join us at the Import Logistics Academy Morocco.